Hello, hello. All business today. We're going to get straight into it. This is Fringe Festival Support. Hello. Sorry, that was a bit aggressive. It's Fringe Festival Support. It's to help people's mental health through the Fringe, supported by the Mental Health Foundation, and we welcome you with open arms and no aggression at all. We're straight in today because we had such a fascinating discussion yesterday. There's a very high standard been set, but luckily I have two people who are going to match that standard easily. I have Njambi McGrath and Tiff Stephenson.
Hi.
How are you both?
Okay, now worrying because the high standards been set.
Yeah.
No, don't worry.
Already the pressure's on.
Yep.
Before that, it was a real low bar.
No, I'm just wondering what was on her yesterday.
It was like a limbo, yeah. We just got into a lot of, we've been talking a lot about mental health, and yesterday suddenly we were talking about like how to market yourself and paying flyers and all sorts of like really technical stuff. So we'll ignore all of that today and just go for pure entertainment.
Yeah.
So how long have you been up? Are you settled in? Are you in rhythm?
I don't know if I'm in rhythm. I feel like it's always a bit of a roller coaster, Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So I think I've been up now technically a week. Maybe I arrived last Wednesday. So probably I arrived last Tuesday, did my first show on Wednesday. So just over a week, and I'm feeling a little bit tired now because at this point in the Fringe, once my show's bedded in a bit, I start doing stuff like this or interviews or radio, and I like to have a week of just focusing on the show and trying to mute my social media.
Yeah.
Because that can be quite overwhelming up here. But yeah, so excited. I love my show, so I'm very excited about that. But all the other Edinburgh things are still there and the same, just fighting to get your people in, get bums on seats, and yeah, so.
Njambi, good so far?
Yeah, well, I came last Thursday, so I arrived the same day and I started a show the same day, which is a great idea, obviously. So usually when I arrive, I'm very, very exhausted from not, walking all the hills and stuff, and I just think, God, I don't know how I'll make it till the end with all of this walking. And I think my body does get a little bit stronger, like you were saying, towards the second week I feel I have a little bit more energy, like to come this morning and do a little bit more. But my show's pretty good as well. Same issues as Tiff, trying to get the audience in, and is always the common challenge. But yeah, I've got a great team of flyers who are doing a great job, and but every day is a surprise to you. You just don't know what's going to happen day by day.
Absolutely unsung heroes, flyers.
Oh yeah.
Out in the rain, miserable weather.
Yeah.
Yes, you should look after them, pay them well, and
Definitely, you need them. You literally need them.
Because I always have like a percentage of people who know me, so sort of booked to come and see the show, but then you always want that topped up by people. You also wanting people who haven't seen you before to reach a new audience and stuff, and so they're the face of your show, and how they're out there representing you, and you want them to be happy and well fed and watered and treated well.
Yeah, you find a good flyer, you lock them down for life.
But any good flyer,
pull them out.
Yeah, any good flyer will probably be moving on up in the in the comedy. Well, if they're flyering comedians in the comedy industry, so will eventually become a promoter or help run a gig or do that sort of stuff. Yeah. In fact, one of my flyers from a few years ago is now writing for a magazine up here and
oh my goodness,
beginning to promote some shows. So I think often flyers are like, okay, well, we'll do flyering for a couple of years, but then we're going to move on.
But that's good though, because they understand the business from root down.
Yes.
And it's always nice to be nice to people, because you don't know whether they're going to be the ones booking you for the next big show.
Should be kind to everyone.
First time up, did you fly yourself? Have you done flyering?
I think maybe 1 year when I had a split show before I did my first ever solo show. I tried. I was doing a show with Lady Carol, who plays songs, and we were down on the Holyrood, and it's too soul crushing before a show. because if one person says no, then the next 10 will say no. So you notice how much people follow each other, and then if a person takes one, then the chances are the next 10 will. But I found it too. I tried to do it a couple of times, and I tried to get the person I was doing the show with involved, and she was like, "I can't. I need to protect my voice." And I was like, "I'm not doing this on my own. No." So I admire people that do, but I just my ego can't take it.
Yeah.
Well, I actually do flyer for my show, just because I'm a bit of a control freak. That's my problem. I trust my flyers because sometimes I can't even see them, but I just feel like I have to, if I'm there, even if not many people turn up, I feel like I wouldn't blame myself for, I don't know, so that's how my mind works, that I have to know that I've been out there, that I've, I don't know, done my time, if you like. But it would be nice to just like walk onto stage without having been outside, hustling people and stuff.
And find an audience there.
And find an audience
Hello! Oh, thank goodness.
there. Yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's amazing that performers are the most miserable flyers in my experience. They're electric on stage, but as soon as they've got their photo on a thing and they have to hand it to somebody, they're like, come and see this. Don't make me explain it. Please don't ask me if it's good.
Yeah.
Well, you end up. I think you'd feel like you end up doing half the show on the street to someone just to get them in.
Yeah.
So
I did. Yeah. It's and what I hate is like someone says to me, "Okay, tell me a joke so I can decide whether it's like you want me to do like the whole show here for you before you decide to come and see me." It's like, yeah, if you don't trust it, then it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not for you.
that's why it's good to have. It's always good to have someone else praise you rather than you doing it yourself.
I know.
That's just too awful.
Yeah,
It's much nicer to have a flyer go, "I love the show because of this, this, and this. And they're really funny, and they do this, and it's touching, and it's it's moving, and they can say all of that." Whereas you're going, "I'm really funny. Promise me."
Yeah.
Promise me, trust me, promise me, don't promise me.
Yeah.
Promise me you'll come, I'm so funny, I'm the best, yeah.
I want to get heavily made up, like big disguise, like overcoat, dark glasses. That would be the only way that you, if your face was on something that you had to hand to somebody. Horrible. How do you look after yourself when you're up here? How do you get through the month?
Well, the first time I came here, I was completely heartbroken. I found it really difficult to cope because I left my family, and I just thought, there's no way I can do this by myself. So I have forced them to come with me ever since. And finally they've rebelled. One of my daughters said, "I am not coming to Edinburgh anymore." And I was like, "Why? Haven't I done a good job of looking after you?" And she was like, "That's not going to work on me, okay? I'm still not coming to Edinburgh." So
is it because you make her do 6 hours of flyering?
No. Well, I just tell them to choose what they want to do. So they can flyer, and they make loads of money flyering, but then she just decided it's not for her, and she said, "I've got a job now working in an ice cream shop." And so, that's good. And I laughed, and she said, "Do not job shame me." And I was like, "I'm not job shaming you, I'm just saying that if you say to them that you're away for a couple of weeks, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world for them." And then she was like, "No, I got my job now, and I don't want to let them down." It's like, okay, fine.
You're going to let your mother down. I'm going to lay this guilt on. You're letting me down. You're letting the family down.
After all we've done for you, this is how you repay me. But the thing is, I like the fact that they are such independent, strong-minded, and they're like, "Okay, we've done your thing. Now it's time to do my thing." And I thought, so the only person that I can really bring up here is my husband, because my husband is a party animal. He loves just getting drunk and just chatting to everybody. So I love the fact that he likes that. He enjoys doing that.
And you were saying you don't get to see him all that much when you're back in London because you're gigging and you're moving around?
Yeah, and actually this is the 1 month that we can really spend quality time together, because we can, after my show, we usually go and maybe grab some lunch or some dinner, or go to a show, see all the things that we always have wanted to see through the year, but we never have time together. So this is like a very intense time for us to just rekindle time together, and then when we go back, see ya. It's nice spending the month.
Like a honeymoon.
Like a honeymoon.
Intense honeymoon.
Yeah, like a honeymoon, except followed by stroppy children behind us. Yeah, but it's fun. It's an experience, and he likes coming here, and he's very sociable. So I love when they come here because I feel that even though if I've had a brilliant show or a bad show, I can still just go back to the flat and just be normal. So I find that they actually, because otherwise it's very easy to dip. So it's nice that they keep me sane.
It's nice to have a support network.
Yeah.
Particularly, I think, for stand-up comedians, like they're generally like quite if it's a solo act, and they tend to travel on their own a lot. Like it's quite difficult to find that sort of support.
And lonely.
It's why literally you take a support act.
Yeah.
If you're going on tour, you have a support.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks that means just doing time on stage and warming up the audience, but a lot of the time it's emotional support. To have a friend with you out on the road, and otherwise that can become a different hotel room, quite lonely. You know, maybe a tour manager, but that can become.
It's a companion as well as a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you go and sit back in your dressing room in the interval on your own, and you're like.
Yeah, what am I going to
So
do?
I just got 20 minutes and then I'll go out again, and you know.
And it can be very lonely, especially when you're doing that long drives and all of that. So it's nice. When you've got that emotional support.
Do you have people up here, Tiff?
Yeah, my now fiance. I mean, we've been together 13 years, so I say fiance like. You know, we've essentially been married that entire time. Is how I consider it.
Have you told anyone, or is this like an exclusive?
I talk about it in the show, so yeah. But sorry, this isn't an exclusive. But so he comes up. He's directing my show, so he came up for the first 5-6 days, and then he's gone, and then I see my friends. So. But I do, I've been meeting my friends every night after the show because there's a period, I think my show's at 9:15, which means by the time I'm off stage and sort of done, it's like 10:30, and there's no way I'm getting to sleep till 1, 2.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to wind down from doing stand-up. So then I'm meeting up with friends, and he'll be back up, and then I'll get my stepson will come up, so there'll be family. And for a few years, my dad used to come up, but I think the festival is now too much. He turned 79, and I think it's just a lot. Well, actually, sometimes when your parents come, and I'm sort of that age, and this is the same for you, where your parents are sort of getting older, so they require a bit of looking after as well. And then I've got my stepson, I've got my family. So actually having them here is kind of more work.
Liability,
and you're trying to you are actually working, so you can't be like, what's he doing for dinner? Is he going to eat? Is this happening? And he loves it, and he loves the social aspect of it, and he'll freak out if he won't watch this. No disrespect, but he would freak out at the idea that he was. I'm not saying he's too old, because someone like Lynn Ruth Miller, who we saw the other night, is up. She's like 84, 85, and she's still getting about the fringe. But I feel like it requires attention. Your family coming, any family, it just means that you've got to. But I do have the support from him, so I'm lucky in that aspect, and he's good at keeping me centered and keeping me focused, because it's sort of hard. I feel like I had my breakdown before the Fringe this year, so like I got it out the way early doors before I even came up.
I did too.
Schedule it like June, July. Just when when a lot of comedians are starting to write their show.
So I had a little panic then and thought about all of the things that I can't control. And I am a control freak, so like you're saying, so I can't control how many people are going to come into the show. I can control how good the show is. I can't control, who likes it, who doesn't like it. All I can control is my aspect of it. So it's sometimes very hard to relinquish that and let it out into the festival and go. I sort of talk about creatively giving birth to 9 shows, and it's like you have these babies and you give them to everyone, you go, judge this, judge this,
and everyone was like, I don't like the nose. Like, I can't change the nose now.
It's either like, you just produced the best looking child in the world, or and then when they say anything about this negative, you're like,
what the hell do you mean?
So it can feel very, very personal, and that's why I try not to read anything till afterwards as well. And
I was going to say that's one of my go-to questions about reviews, about whether you pay any attention to them or read them at all.
I see stars go up on the posters and stuff like that, but I try not to read mine. don't want to read anyone else's.
And that's good because they tend to put the good stars up on the poster.
Yeah, not the bad
One
ones.
star, terrible.
Yeah. But this, like, normally I have them in quite early, and this year they've come a bit later, which does mean, you know, I do think it affects people coming into the show. Although this year I've been more retweeting audience members that have been to the show because they've had such a connection with the show and been so lovely.
Yeah.
Like a man in the front row cried last night at the end of the
lovely.
show. Yeah, not because I make men cry. Yeah, the worst patriarchy. No, it's not. It's sort of at the end of the show because I talk about being a stepmother and I talk about motherhood and what that can mean. Yeah. And you know, afterwards I just gave him a cuddle. We just had a moment of just like
That's so lovely.
So people have been sort of connecting with the show in that way, and that's kind of how I'm talking about the show. I do think word of mouth is one of the most
brilliant.
important things for getting people in. So, but that also then means I have to go on Twitter, and social media is one of the things that, for example, you know, I have a PR and I realise that I can see on her Facebook she's putting up reviews, and I'm like, oh, I've got to block my PR.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah, so, not seeing you again.
And she's great, and I'll see her out in the business. She wouldn't say to me, like, because she knows. Yeah. But obviously, she's putting stuff out on her Facebook feed, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing I've got to. I just got to be aware of.
Yeah.
We had a very average audience review the other day, which they very kindly tagged us into.
Oh, great!
Why
do they do that?
So you get a notification. It's like, oh, some audience. Oh, that's not.
Well, yeah, that happened to me. The first, I literally arrived, and we didn't even have any chance to fly. My flyers hadn't arrived, and so I had a very, very small audience. And he put it on Instagram, and he tweeted me and said, "Hey, we were your only audience, but I hope that we're going to bring you good luck." And I was like, "Just go away, go away." Sorry, go away.
No. I just want to do my show.
Well, this is it. It's like, no, oh, fine. But yeah, they mean well. You know, they mean well. But yeah,
I mean, not all of them.
not all of them. Not there.
Some of them genuinely think it's like constructive criticism. It's like, you know, oh, this will help. This is feedback. I'll let them know that this joke didn't quite land, and you should probably do it like this. Yeah. Or that some of the details of your show are incorrect.
Oh, that really wound me up, but not as much as 2 years ago when I was doing this show, and I was my shows are usually fairly political, and so I was looking at the phenomenon of something like FGM and labiaplasty. And this man sat at the front, he put his hand up, and I was like, "What you doing?"
Put his hand up?
Yeah, a white man. He put his hand up, and I said, "What you doing? It's not school." He put his hand up, and I said, "What's your problem?" He said, "Can I just say that those children in Africa do not have a choice on whether their clitoris get cut or not?" And it's like, did you even hear what I said? I was looking at the phenomenon of both. And I said, "Listen, put your hand down. Obviously, you're a white man. You're completely underrepresented. And I'm just a black woman with an hour." And the thing is, people find it so difficult to just sit down and listen to another point of view. And he waited for me outside so that we can have a debate about it. And I said, "Okay, I will listen to you if you write a show, and I'll come and listen to you in your show. But I'm not going to stand here listening to what you have to say about what I have said on stage."
Yeah, you don't want to have to defend your point of view in your show to someone afterwards. That's, you know, getting into the minutiae of the show. And then I had someone at the end of my show, and he's actually the only person that's kind of said anything like this, who come over and said, "Oh, I loved the show. I loved everything about it. I just disagree on Cardi B because, you know, the American dream is why we have Donald Trump." And I was like, Donald Trump isn't self-made.
No.
Donald Trump's, and also Cardi B's not spreading racial hatred.
No.
So I was talking about the phenomenon of, like, you know, the ability to transcend whatever you were doing and move into a different area. And how they talk about that, and the language of that being particularly American. And they talk about Cardi B finessing her way from stripper to Grammy winner. There's no judgment, and I really like that. There's like you can do what you want. And so that was kind of my point, because I'm talking about entrenched classism in the UK.
All right.
And he came over, and I was like, I think you've misunderstood the point I'm making there. I'm saying it's different, and Americans view success as aspirational and inspirational, and we're outwardly hostile to anyone who's ever achieved anything. That's very British.
Yeah, but it's interesting because yesterday after my show is about basically colonialism, because when people talk about colonialism, but they don't actually look at the impact it had on people, and that's what I'm talking about. And this guy comes to me, very angry, older white man, and he said, "I lived in Kenya. It did not happen the way you said it happened," and I was like, okay, fine, you tell me, white man. It's like, what bit is very well documented? What is it? The scramble for Africa never happened, the colonialism never happened, the grabbing of land never happened. What bit of that are you trying to disprove?
How much land did he have in Kenya is the first question.
Yeah, I should have asked him that.
Yeah.
The problem there is that's what we teach in school. Right?
Yeah.
Like in history, I learned about colonialism. It was a great time where we boldly went around the world and moved tea about and, and educated
natives
and gave them a proper religion.
And brought them Christianity and repression.
But these are the things that my show is trying to disprove. Because this is it. It's always told from the victor's side, but it's never told from the other side. So this man had to sit down and listen to my point of view. It enraged him so much. And he felt that he had to actually say that was incorrect. And I was like, I'm sorry, I've got no time for you.
It's difficult in Edinburgh as well because like you're so sort of public.
Yeah.
Like you're just sort of you're
scared
walking
me
through
a
the
little
streets,
bit.
you
Yeah.
see people, and it's not like a gig somewhere else where you can
You go
retreat
home.
to your
Yeah.
dressing room and
Yeah.
the audience have all gone home by the
Yeah.
time you come out.
Yeah.
Here it's like they're waiting for you to just tell you what they thought.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially they said he lived in Kenya. It's like, really? You think I don't know? Those people have like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of acres of land, and he doesn't see how that is a problem when there are millions that cannot even grow their own food because
Displaced.
That's right, they're displaced and dispossessed. To this day, they are still displaced and dispossessed, and he cannot see how that the side of things. And it's very difficult to hear the other side, and especially his partner. Obviously, people don't. A lot of people don't know what happened with colonialism. That it was just a bloodbath. They don't understand it. But the moment it's put out there on them, they begin, I think, to feel shame and embarrassment.
Yeah, I was going to say there's an acknowledgement that if he's a rich landowner.
Yeah.
That he might be part of the problem. And sometimes that's very confronting for people.
And confusing, because he's probably always been told, this was our right, we came and got this land, and the natives didn't know what to do, they didn't know how to farm. The natives, how did they survive for hundreds and hundreds of years if they didn't know how to farm? Because what they did was they came and uprooted all of the food and grew tea. People can't eat tea. This is why people starved. This is why you see people still starving.
My mum would try. I reckon my mum would try and eat tea if she could.
A whole bag of tea.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the world's most awkward plug now because Yorkshire Tea actually sponsored us and sent us free tea. But obviously it's grown in Yorkshire, so
of course.
that's completely not part of that same problem.
No.
I like my men like I like my tea. Lucen from Yorkshire.
Yay.
Joke I used to have.
Lovely.
It's still here. Where do you like to go in Edinburgh? Where are your favourite places?
Oh, I've got a bike this year.
Oh, awesome.
Ooh.
Gosh.
Yes,
so
I bought a bike.
Up and down the hills.
It's not too bad. I'm staying out past sort of Newington way, so I can cycle just down here. I didn't today because I needed to unlock the bike and the faff. I was like, I'll just get a taxi. A little bit earlier. But yeah, I like Arthur's Seat. I like...
Don't bike up there.
No, you can't cycle up there. I like going out to Portobello.
Yeah.
I like getting out of this. In fact, the end of town that I'm in is a little bit less festivally. I like not quite being in the madness. Because sometimes, actually, and this is a comparison thing, and it's a thing that sometimes I struggle with.
This could be a drill, but I was not warned about a drill. This may not be a drill.
Oh.
This is the best TV ever. Oh, man, that was really exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were at least going to have a fire. That would have gone viral. People would have shared that.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a sign for me to stop saying whatever I was going to say.
We have a different...
Divine intervention.
We have a different air horn for that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But just that comparison is sort of the thief of joy, I guess, really. And during the Fringe, in the middle of this, even there's posters of me, but there's posters of everyone you see. There's been years before where I just kind of coming into Waverley, I start to feel a bit sick with anticipation and nerves, and so you're so surrounded by how well everyone else is doing. It's like walking around in a live version of Instagram. This festival. All it is posters go stars and like and also at some point everyone's got stars, everyone's got reviews, it's overwhelming. Are selling out. My show's amazing. How's yours? And you're like, I'm a piece of shit. Everyone must hate it. And so trying to get out of here so that I can just get away from literally the faces everywhere. Is a big thing.
Yeah, I do the same. I tend to stay the opposite way, and it's quite quiet, and I love that side because they've got some lovely cafes, they've got really lovely restaurants, and this one thing I like about Edinburgh is that I can literally go to a different restaurant and they're so nice. The restaurants, food is so nice. So yeah, I like that. I still haven't managed to get to Arthur's Seat, which is a great shame to me because I don't know. I keep thinking I'll do it this year. Never. I still haven't.
You've never
managed.
been up there?
I've never been up there.
Oh wow.
We did 7 years of arriving on the train, and you it's the first thing you sort of see of Edinburgh. And it's like this year's the year. It took us 7 years to get up there.
Oh good. Okay. Thank God.
So
Hopefully.
we're definitely going to do this again. Haven't done it again.
You do need sort of half a day. And a bit of time, and then you're like, I'll wait till it's sunny so I can see how days go by, and you go, I haven't done it.
And the thing is, I've got just one day off. And on my day off, I plan to see shows, I plan to do things, and I think, well, maybe then that's my Arthur's Seat gone.
I'm not going to climb up it on my day off. Does feel like a job. When you're up there, it's amazing.
We've said before there needs to be a drag lift or some sort of train
ski lift.
But we've given this tip before. But if you are going to do Arthur's Seat, approach it from the north side, and it's like quite a gentle walk up. It's a bit of a longer walk, but it's quite a gentle thing. If you try and do it from this side, from
the Holy Rood
south side, it's pretty vertical.
I've gone up. I tried to go up the sheer face of it once. Oh God! I was like, or was it come down? I think it was come down because it was starting to get dark, and we were like, we're done now. We could see the path, and we were like, that's half an hour. Let's just scramble down the side. Really bad idea. It's like how long? 45 minutes up, maybe from
probably.
The south side,
But if you do it that side, then your calves are burning for days. Barely walk.
Yeah, but I always try to take the train to Glasgow to go to a Kenyan restaurant in Glasgow.
Oh, really? Yeah. What's the good Kenyan restaurant in Glasgow?
There's one and only. It's called Calabash, and they do Kenyan food.
Oh, wow.
So,
nice.
So I just go straight there, have Kenyan food, and then train back.
Yeah.
It's like, this is awesome. Yeah. So but most of the times it's about. I do a lot of guest spots. Do you do a lot of guest spots?
I try and limit it again during the first sort of bit. I try and limit it, and then this week they're all sort of starting, so I'll be out and about, and I may as well because for those 2-3 hours after my show, I'm not going to be going home and just going to bed and relaxing. So, getting out and about and being sociable, but also kind of knowing my limits and going 4 o'clock in the morning in the Loft Bar or somewhere like that is not conducive. It doesn't help my mindset. It doesn't
help anyone.
It doesn't help anyone. I mean, who was I talking to the other day? Someone was saying, like deals aren't made at that time in the Loft. You kind of think, I could be here. And you're like, no, you're just sort of out drinking and it's now late. And you should go home. Time to go home.
Networking, it's very important.
Just one more drink.
The next person in could be the person that propels me into the next stratosphere of it. It is unlikely at 4 a.m.
No.
Although maybe that is when they're out there.
I don't know. I saw someone who looked like Captain Hollywood in the abattoir the other night. He had like a cigar on the go.
All right.
Yeah, and he was American. So I think he might have been a producer or something. But I was like, wow, that's almost like from a bygone era. This kind of like, he commented on my Gucci belt and he went, the double G's. And I went, yep. And we sort of had this like kind of, and he was like, it's a Gucci belt. And I went, I know, I bought it. And he was sort of like, I was like, but I was like, where's he from? Like, I'm fascinated by people like that.
Yeah.
Just someone who's like, I'm going to be here chuffing on a cigar. And like, you know, I think maybe he was in like his 60s or his 70s. And he's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I've been in Hollywood and I've not met that guy.
They don't look like that.
Yeah,
They look like
That's
hipsters.
actually my Uncle Nigel.
Yeah.
He pulls that shtick quite a lot. He's from Birmingham.
Is he? Yeah,
no,
okay.
he just sits in bars and
Tell
important.
Nigel said hi.
Thanks for the fashion tips, Uncle Nige. So self-care, how do you handle that? Are you tough with yourself?
Well, given that I've spent the whole year working on the show, the moment I decide to tear off the paper from my fridge, that's the moment I decide, that's it, I'm not changing anymore, that's it. Like it's like you were saying about having a baby. Like once it's out, you can't change the sex, or like maybe you can, or you can't change whatever. And it's the same with my shows. It's like, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to change anything, whether it works or not. This is it. I've had a whole year of doing it. And I think it's just, I just dismiss people who don't like my show as, they don't understand this sort of thing. They're not very well educated or whatever. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah.
Because then otherwise, when you start to think, oh God, it's because I'm shit. That's what I did. So that's what I do. It's like, oh, well, they don't get my sense of humor. So yeah, I think it's just putting up the defense barriers.
Your self-care is going to a Kenyan restaurant, though, right? By the sounds of it. If you get on a train to go there, you're like, this is the thing I need.
I need this.
Yeah.
I need my childhood comfort. This is what I need. And yeah, that is great self-care. And I just do it. It's an hour to Glasgow to get a meal and then back. And then also, you know, just like going back to the flat and just sort of, even just if talking to my daughter, really, because it just brings normalness to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though she's whinging about her hair, it's not curly enough or whatever, and I just think, yeah, fine, there's normality here. Yeah, so
it's outside of the fringe bubble, right?
Yeah,
it's someone who's like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, because like when you hang around with people, like you were saying, you know, people just saying, oh my God, I got reviews in 5 stars, and you're like, oh, please, you know, everybody else seems to be doing better than you were.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of potential to start self-loathing. And and that's why I like to just do normal things, like think about, has my daughter had vegetables this week at all? So just the manual things that just cloud, you know, take away all of the intensity of the competition of the fringe.
This is always my favourite week. So it's like the kind of halfway through the first week into the second.
Yeah.
It's like you've bedded in, you get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
You kind of you know where everything is now, and you don't worry quite so much. It's just, as long as you've got like a couple of good reviews, but it's that doubt when even in a really good review, there's just like one little line.
That's why don't read them while you're up here. That's really
absolutely
read them afterwards if you want. I think that's a really, you know, if you want to look at them afterwards, and then you're in a different place and you can maybe take on board that kind of stuff. But I would say,
and at the time you don't care that much anyway.
I was saying yesterday that the second stupidest thing that you can do in Edinburgh is read your reviews, and the first stupid thing you do is pay any attention to them if you do. Because you can't do anything about it. It's not that you're going to read a review and go, oh, they didn't like that bit. I'll take that out and I'll write something else.
And the thing is, like, comedy and humor is very subjective. Like, if I had to go and review a show about, I don't know, gaming or something like that, it probably wouldn't be a great review because, like, I have zero interest in that. And it's the same with reviewers. So they may be asked to come and review political comedy from an African, and they'll be like, why? I've got to. So they'll, and this is a thing that people forget, is that even people have particular interests. And
I think the good review sites, I think, pick stuff. They send people that they think will
get.
Because otherwise there's no point in going.
And I think as well, like, it's frustrating when they don't acknowledge what's happening in the rooms. They're like, this review is my personal opinion of a thing. But not many reviewers do that. Many reviewers go, it's this. And you go, okay, it's not for you, but how was it in the room? Did the room love it and enjoy it? And I think that's why the audience reviews and stuff like that, I mean, you've democratized it a little bit more. So it's not just kind of like 1 or 2 newspapers now that will make or break an entire fringe. There's ways of you know, people kind of shouting about stuff that they love.
Yeah.
And so that makes it a bit more kind of interesting. And there's definitely people who've come through.
From audience recommendations.
Yeah, from audience recommendations
Yeah.
and coming through on the Free Fringe and doing stuff like that. And that's kind of changed it up as well. And there's a lot more podcasts this year. I think the festival's
That's amazing.
very podcasty. It's kind of like some of the art forms have changed and stuff as well. So, and
a lot of them are shows, like in the brochure. They're like, come and see my podcast recording.
I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing a podcast. I do one with Lush, and we're
nice.
doing a few shows. But also, those things kind of tend to grow their own audience because with podcasting you can be so niche that
only people like my podcast. I do a podcast as well. But it's kind of my specialism is colonialism. Because. And this is what even authors are told. If you're an African author, they always say, they always talk about colonialism. It's because it has impacted on us for so many years, and it still does to this day.
Yes.
We're still not free. And and which Africans have a voice, which Africans have been able to say exactly how they've been impacted on. And I make a joke and I say that white people know everything there is to know about the animals of Africa, but they know fuck all about the African people. Which is true though. And they were crying about the shooting of Cecil the Lion, and we were like, oh my God, we're still impacted by colonialism, and they're like, shush, can't you see we're in mourning? And this is exactly how we're treated as Africans, and it is. I feel that I have a voice, and I'm going to talk about it until everybody understands the impact that colonialism has had on us and still does to this day. If you see, like, even the land distribution, like the colonialists never left, they're still there.
Yeah.
They still hold on to everything.
And they have generations of their family that then take it on.
And often those people are not nice at all. They have, like in Kenya, they have impunity to shoot and kill Africans. They have pure impunity. And it is grotesque that nothing, they're above the law. And this is how we're still treated. If you look at what's happening in Laikipia, it's still exactly the same. They can basically shoot you. And the problem is that we have a lot of nomadic tribes. Nomadic tribes, this is how they exist, by moving their cattle from place to place. And literally, you move your cattle somewhere where they own all the game reserves. They have a license to shoot you and kill you. It doesn't matter whether you're 4, it doesn't matter whether you're 40. They have a license to kill.
And you do a podcast?
I do, yeah. I do a podcast. So I started doing it with someone I'm writing with. Her name is Anamika. So I'm waiting for her to come so that we can start podcasting. But we do a podcast every week.
We'll make sure you give us the details of that, and we'll put it in the description at the bottom of the video, so people can catch up with that.
Yeah, thank you. So it's very heavy stuff, but it's just that how still Africans are regarded with such disdain by the colonialists who live in Africa. And they refuse to acknowledge any of this. And this is why that man was very, very furious yesterday, telling me this is not what happened in Africa. It's still...
Well, we'll send him the podcast information as well.
Yeah.
No, there's lots of those. Like Richard Herring, I guess, has made a sort of art form of it, because I don't even know if he's doing an actual show this year, but he's doing his podcast every day.
Oh, wow.
But he's built that over... He was doing it, like, he's been doing that for like
way back when it was early.
Stuart Goldsmith his podcast has been going for a long time as well.
Yeah.
Now everyone's got a podcast. Uncle Nigel's got a podcast. He hasn't. What are you looking forward to most? What's going to be the highlight of your Fringe? Just predict it.
A
highlight of my Fringe. It's nice, like just seeing people that you never get to see, because like you live in LA.
Well, I live in London, but I'm going to be, I'm splitting between 3 cities after the Fringe, because I got an American visa. Let's see how that pans out.
Nice.
It's like kind of like but seeing people's great, isn't it?
People, like there's some people like I only ever see once a year because they're from Australia, and others from Singapore, and you only ever see them once, really.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Your paths would never cross ever again. until it's a festival.
But I mean, even in London, like we live in London, we come up here, we see people we don't see the rest of the year round,
Literally.
and we say, we'll get together when we get
And
back
you
in
would.
London. Then next year we're back here again.
Yeah.
Oh, you, hello.
And even if, like, say someone lives in East London, it's such a long, East London, and I live in West London. Just to go and meet up is just like, and your life is taken up with gigging, and just like, oh, I can't travel. On my days off, I hate traveling. I hate doing anything. So I just like to chill out. So yeah, seeing people is the highlight.
It's like summer camp.
It is like
Summer
summer
camp
camp.
for creatives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my highlight's always walking down the mile and just like, doing it once, like not as a habit, but just like seeing all the fresh faces, like really genuinely excited. 'Cause I'm like super enthusiastic about the Fringe. I love coming here and I enjoy all of it, even the bad bits. But to see lots of people it grinds people down. It's really good to walk on the mile and just see all of those people who are just like so excited.
Doing it for the first time, doing Bouncy Castle Hamlet, Bouncy Castle Dracula. Sometimes, you should always try and go and see the maddest show you can see as well at the Fringe. That is so that you go, either like this looks like it'll be incredible or terrible, but I'll give that a go because it's so mad. I like that there's that, and I like that there's still a genuine spirit of creativity and experimentation. I think it's lost it a little bit, or it kind of has become. I certainly don't feel like I can afford to come up with a show that's not ready and find it during a month of doing performances. And I would love that to be the case, but it's sort of changed for that. But there is still an element of the Fringe that is that, and I really enjoy seeing that. That's my highlight. I'll go, like people were reading from the phone book, reading from the Chilcott report, weren't they?
That was,
stuff like that. Where you
Yeah.
go, I'll just go in and watch something mad for a couple of minutes.
There's one this year. They're coming on later this week. That are doing the climate change report.
Oh, wow.
Reading the climate change report.
Oh God, that would be sobering.
But I'm not going to plug them because they'll be here to do it themselves.
Oh, great.
It's been lovely to chat to you.
Nice chatting to you.
I wish you all the very best for the rest of the Fringe.
Thank you very much.
And
you too.
We're going to be, yes, I'm getting the nod because I've forgotten to do all of the information. So over here we've got the Twitter and the Facebook. You can find us on our website. You can see all of our episodes from this year and last year as well. And also to remind you that we're coming here from Fringe Central, who very kindly hosted us this year, and their brochure is available everywhere over here. And they've got loads and loads of great events that you can come, and it will help you get through the Fringe. I promise you. I guarantee it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again.